I'm going to tell you about the rollers that I use for gluing out. This is a Shoreline roller, and it is usually used for trimming out. You can buy these in the paint stores. They're usually about $1, $2 a piece, like that. They come apart, they're washable, and you can replace the rolling part very easily. But these rolling parts will last a long time if you clean them properly. This is the old style handle, which I prefer because it's straight and it will stay in your hand. You can put it down and pick it up, and it always is where you want it to be. The new handles are these ergonomic things which have this curve on it, and I find them slippery. I can't put them down right. It's sort of like it's just a bit of a nuisance, but that's what it is now. And I haven't been able to contact these people to tell them to go back to the straight handles, which are far more useful. Now, when you're mixing the glue for to use with a roller, I'm using straight PVA, but I'm going to dilute it with about 10% water. And you should also use one of these vinyl roller pans. When you get the roller pans, you should make sure that it doesn't have high ridges in it. It should be very smooth. It'll have like very low ridges in it, like this. If it has too big of a ridge in it, you'll be squeezing the glue out of your roller. So I'll add water to this and mix it up with a little spatula here. And the way I sort of figure out, what I want to do, it also depends on your job. If you're lining spines, you probably want the glue thicker than you do if you're doing a lot of gluing out for paper or cloth covering of books and boards. So what I do is I just pull this up and hold it about 10 inches. And as you see, the glue is starting to break. It's a little bit thick there. So I'll add a little bit more and work this in. And when you pull this up, it should just start to break like this into drops at about 10 inches. This will give you a really good all-round, all-purpose glue for doing most jobs around the bindery. I just set the little spatula on the side like that. Now when you're gluing out, you have a reservoir and you have your field here. So you just dip your roller in and push in one direction. See how I'm lifting between each push. Always push toward the reservoir, and this will give you a nice even coating on your roller and give you make sure that you don't have too much on the roller. And when you're gluing out, you'll also glue in those directions. So whenever you need to charge your roller, you can dip it in the reservoir, and sometimes if your glue is a little thicker, all you have to do is just pick up some glue here, always still going in one direction, with your roller. And I usually like to push toward the reservoir so that if you get too much glue in your roller, you can press extra hard, and the glue will just come out of your roller and go into the reservoir. Now when you go to actually fold your edges and things, put your roller down sideways like this on the edge of the roller, on the edge of the pan, so that it doesn't go rolling in and get glue onto the handle. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little bit about the setup, for gluing a lot of pieces at once, or just having a studio where you can glue anytime you want. I've set the roller pan onto a stool beside my work table, and it's held in place just with a little piece of tape on this one side, on the front edge, so that it doesn't slide off of the stool. Now I'm going to show you how I set up my gluing pad. Basically what I'll do is take a ream of paper like this. This is the very cheapest stuff you can get at Staples. And then just knock it up on one side. And I lay it beside my work area. I'm going to pull it a little bit off of the edge here at the moment because I have to glue this edge. So I'll take the roller, and I just glue up the edge so that it's all turned into a big kind of pad of paper. Now what this does is this becomes kind of a book that I glue out on. Once the glue is dry, I'll be able to use it. So I'll just let this dry, and when you glue on the top surface, then all you do is just turn the page. You don't have to like wrinkle it up, you don't throw it away, you just leave it here and just keep going on to the next glue and keep throwing the pages over. I'll show you a little bit later once this is dry. Okay, now that the pad is dry, I can show you sort of how this works. So when you have something, you can glue it out on the pad like this, put your roller down, pick up your piece and just flip this over, and you can just let it hang there, and you can go on and do your work with your pieces glued out. Now a lot of times you may have something that is too large for this pad, but the tabloid gives you a pretty large area for doing most everything you're going to need to do on a daily basis. But occasionally you will need to do something very large. So what I do for that is I take off 2 sheets, and you can just tear it off the pad. And then you have an area to glue out which is twice the size of your pad. Usually glue out things in your portrait format rather than landscape, because it'll be easier to pick up. Anyway, that's how this pad works. So all you do is you just keep gluing out, turn your pages over like this and like this and like this, and then when you get about 25 or 30 of these will be sort of wet. You just tear it off and roll it up, and it'll go right into your trash can very neatly. This way you don't have to deal with trash every time you glue something out. I'm finished with what I was doing, so now I'll show you how to clean up a roller. I'll take the roller pan, and I have a little folder here that I have cut a slight curve into. You could also use a straight folder if you had to, but you just set the roller on the edge of your pan and then scrape the excess glue out, and you'll see how much glue the roller actually holds. Once I finish scraping the glue out of this, which only takes a second or two, I'll take this and run it under cold water until it runs clean, and let it air dry. And it'll be ready to use again, the next time I want to use it. If you don't scrape the glue out, you can't really get it clean by running it under water, because there's just too much in the roller. But scraping it out like this, or with a regular folder like that, gets all the excess glue out so that you can wash it efficiently. Now I'll just take the rest of the glue and put it into a container like this, airtight container. Scraping it out with the spatula. And then seal that up so that I can use it, later on, or tomorrow. And I'm just going to leave the pan like this to dry. That way I don't have to waste water, cleaning it out, because what'll happen with this vinyl pan is that all of this will dry, and then on the next day I'll just come in and just pick it up. It'll all come out like one clean skin that I can just throw away.